I met Claire at a friend's home one summer. When she looked at me, I felt something good. We talked for hours about movies. By the second week, we were meeting most nights. I enjoyed how natural it felt. I am 28, and at first, everything between us was simple. We rented a small place near the city and split the bills. We shared groceries and routines that made life steady. Claire was ambitious. She spoke often about travel and nicer things for the future. I liked that she aimed for more. I believed supporting someone meant encouraging them without taking over. Money was fine at first. Small favors, covering a dinner, helping with a weekend plan, buying a dress for an event. I paid because I wanted to. I never called those payments loans. Over time, the favors grew into regular requests. Texts would arrive late. Can you handle this? Or transfer now? It felt like a simple ask. Then one afternoon, she sent a text that stopped me. You're not ambitious enough. I need a richer man to build the life I deserve. She added, I'll stay only if you fund my lifestyle. The words were clear and cold. I read them a few times. I could have exploded, made a scene, or left in anger. Instead, I stayed calm and watched. Life at home went on with the same small routines. She was affectionate sometimes, but the tone had shifted. The requests kept coming. I began to keep records. Not to shame her publicly, but to understand what had happened. I saved every receipt she left, screenshots of messages asking for money, and copies of transfers. I wrote down dates and amounts. It was quiet work done at the kitchen table while she slept on the couch. Sorting numbers made things less confusing. When feelings become figures on a page, choices are easier to see. The ledger told a story I could no longer ignore. Conversations I remembered as mutual were one-sided. Gifts and help matched transfers labeled with notes like, pay me back, or cover this. The total added up to a pattern. She depended on me financially more than she ever admitted. I decided not to fight in public. That would only feed whatever drama she wanted. My idea was simple. Gather the proof, make the math clear, then return what had been taken along with the documentation. No yelling, just clarity. A week later, I asked her to dinner. She wore a new dress and carried herself in a way that made me think the dress cost more than the meal. We ate quietly. When dessert arrived, I slid an envelope toward her. She opened it and found a set of receipts and bank screenshots. Her expression shifted from curiosity to surprise. I kept my voice steady. I said nothing dramatic. I only told her to look through it. She flipped pages, glanced at numbers, then looked up. This isn't fair, she said. I'm your girlfriend. The words were familiar, the last line of the message she'd once sent. I let the contrast sit between us. I didn't interrupt. Claire kept flipping through the papers, her fingers moving faster as she reached the last page. I had written a simple total at the bottom. Nothing dramatic. Just a number that showed how much money had moved from me to her over our time together. She pushed the envelope back toward me. What is this supposed to mean? Her voice wasn't loud, but she sounded unsure. I could see she wanted me to explain it in a way that put her in control again. That's how things usually worked. She would make a statement, and I would justify myself. But I didn't rush. I told her, calmly, that the packet listed everything she had asked from me. Every small request. Every transfer. Every time she said she'd pay me back and didn't. I said the total was the amount she took, and I was returning it, along with the documents showing what she actually owed. She looked at the envelope again, like it had changed shape. At first, she tried to laugh it off. You're overthinking everything. Couples help each other. She reached across the table, trying to touch my hand. I moved it back gently. Not harsh, not angry, just firm. That simple motion seemed to unsettle her more than the numbers. We help each other, I said. But you haven't helped. You only demanded. And last week you said you needed a richer man. Remember? The color left her face a little. Her eyes drifted toward the window, then back to me. I didn't mean it like that, she said. You're taking things too seriously. But we both knew she meant every word when she wrote it. She wasn't emotional or upset in the text. She was calculating. She wanted an upgraded lifestyle and believed I should provide it while she kept the authority in the relationship. I told her she was free to pursue whatever life she wanted. If she believed she deserved something better, then she should go find it. I wasn't going to hold her back. She kept shaking her head. Why are you acting like this now? You never complained before. Because before, I thought she cared. Before, I thought love meant helping without keeping score. Before, I believed what we had was real. But the text changed everything. I explained that I wasn't seeking revenge in the loud, dramatic sense. I wasn't exposing her online or telling friends. I just wanted clarity, to give her exactly what she said she wanted. She wanted a man who functions like a provider without limits. She wanted a personal ATM. So I showed her the receipts that matched the role she cast me in. And then I chose to step out of it. Her tone shifted again. So what now? She wasn't asking from a place of strength. She was asking because the dynamic had finally changed. The control she thought she had wasn't there anymore. I told her I'd be moving out by the end of the week. The lease was in my name, so I'd take it. She could stay with her cousin, the way she always said she could, if we ever needed space. She didn't argue with that. She leaned back in her chair, staring at the papers. "You're being cold," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm being honest." Her eyes dropped to the final line I had written on a separate sheet. It was a message she had sent me the night she declared I wasn't ambitious enough. I had printed it exactly as she had typed it. Seeing her own words in front of her made her quiet. Dinner ended without much more conversation. I walked her to the car, opened the door for her, and said goodnight. She didn't look back as she drove off. Claire didn't message me that night. Not the next morning either. The silence felt strange at first, but also peaceful. I cleaned the apartment, sorted what was mine, and packed a few things. I moved without rushing. When you finally see the truth about someone, it's surprising how calm the process becomes. On the second evening, she showed up at the apartment without warning. She knocked lightly, almost like she hoped I wouldn't hear. When I opened the door, she stepped inside without waiting for me to invite her. Her eyes scanned the half-packed boxes. "You're really doing this," she said. "Yes," I answered simply. She walked around the living room like she was searching for a reason to change the situation. "I thought you'd cool down," she said. "You're usually patient." I leaned against the counter. "I am patient. That's why I didn't react immediately to your message. I needed time to see things clearly." She opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again, but no clear explanation came out. She wasn't used to being the one who had to explain herself. After a long pause, she said, "That packet you gave me. I didn't know it was that much." "I know," I replied. "You never asked because you didn't want to know." She sat on the couch, but she didn't look comfortable. "I didn't mean to make you feel used," she said. "I just want a stable life. Everyone wants that." "Stability is fine," I said. "But expecting someone to fund your lifestyle while you put in nothing, that's not stability. That's convenience." Her shoulders lowered. She wasn't angry, at least not openly. She looked more unsettled than anything else. She had lived for months believing I would always bend, always pay, always adjust. Seeing me stand firm was new territory for her. "I talked to my cousin," she said quietly. "She said you're being dramatic. That couples go through things like this." I nodded. "And what did you think?" She hesitated. That hesitation told me more than any answer. She didn't deny what she'd done. She just didn't want the consequences. I walked to the table and picked up a second envelope I had prepared, thicker than the first one. I handed it to her. "What's this?" she asked. "Copies," I said. "In case you thought the first packet was some kind of trick. This shows the same totals, the same transfers, the same messages. Nothing changed." She looked at the sealed envelope but didn't open it. Her voice dropped lower. "Are you trying to make me feel guilty?" "No," I said. "Just responsible." She set the envelope down slowly. "So you're really ending this?" "Yes." She exhaled slowly, almost like she was trying to release tension she didn't know she had. "I didn't think you'd walk away," she said. "You always acted like you needed me more than I needed you." "That was your mistake," I replied. "You thought I'd never see what was happening." She took a few steps toward the door, then paused. "I'm not the villain you're making me out to be," she said. "I didn't call you one," I told her. "I just showed you the truth." And that truth followed her as she left the apartment. She didn't slam the door. She closed it quietly, like she was hoping the situation might still shift somehow. But I had already made my decision. Later that night, she sent one short message. "We should talk again tomorrow." I didn't reply. Tomorrow wasn't going to fix anything. The next morning, my phone buzzed several times. I saw Claire's name in the notifications, but didn't open the messages right away. They were short. "Call me." Then, "We need to talk in person." Then, "Please don't avoid this." I waited until the afternoon before responding with one line. "I'll be home at 5. When I got back to the apartment, she was already outside, pacing near the stairs. She walked up the moment I parked. She looked put together, hair straightened, makeup done, but her expression told a different story. "We seriously need to clear things up," she said. "We can talk inside," I replied. Inside, she stood near the kitchen island, her hand resting on the chair she always claimed as hers. For a moment, she looked around the apartment the way someone looks at a place they're about to lose. She took a slow breath. "I showed the papers to my cousin," she said. "She thinks you're being harsh, but I think you might be right about some things." It wasn't an apology. It was a careful sentence, designed to sound humble without taking responsibility. I didn't respond. I let her continue. "I shouldn't have said you're not ambitious enough," she said. "That was wrong. I was frustrated." "You meant it," I said calmly. "Frustration doesn't create new ideas. It reveals them." She looked down at her hands. "I just want a better life. And you were always comfortable. I thought if I pushed you, you'd do more." I shook my head. "You didn't push me to grow. You pushed me to provide." Silence settled in. She knew I was right. She sat down across from me. I want to work things out, she said. I know I messed up, but I care about you. I don't want to lose what we have. What we have, I said, isn't real anymore. Her eyes snapped up. She seemed surprised at how final my voice sounded. Look at what you asked of me, I continued. You said you'd stay only if I funded your lifestyle. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't stress. That was a condition. You made love something you could trade. She rubbed her forehead, frustrated. I didn't think you'd take it literally. I took it the way anyone should, I said. Serious words deserve serious attention. She sat still for a long moment. Then she lifted her head and said something she'd been holding back. Is this because you think I used you? You didn't think twice about using me, I replied. You only think twice now because I'm leaving. Her mouth tightened, and the calm tone she had practiced cracked a little. You're acting like I'm some kind of gold digger. You told me you needed a richer man, I reminded her. That wasn't something I invented. She leaned back in the chair, arms crossed. So that's it. Are you just ending it? After everything we've been through? Yes. She blinked, stunned by how simply I said it. I stood and walked to the small storage drawer near the TV. I pulled out one last envelope. This one smaller, thinner. I set it on the table. What is this now? She asked, irritation rising. The refund, I said. The amount you claimed I owed you from past months. The number you always threw in my face when you said you'd contributed more than I appreciated. It's the exact amount. I'm giving it back, so there's no argument left between us. She stared at the envelope like it was a verdict. You're actually serious? She whispered. For the first time, I answered. You're seeing who I am when I'm done. She didn't say a word. She grabbed the envelope, walked to the door, and left without looking back. But that evening, she did something I didn't expect. Something that turned the entire situation into a lesson she could never escape. Claire didn't message me that night. But the next morning, my phone lit up with a storm of notifications. Not from her, but from mutual friends. A couple of vague texts. A few voice messages. Something was wrong, and it didn't take long to find out why. One of my closest friends, Mason, called me first. Man, Claire's cousin posted something online, he said. You should see it. I opened the link he sent. It was a long post from her cousin. Someone who always tried to defend Claire, no matter what she did. The post talked about a breakup caused by money and accused me of being controlling, cheap, and dramatic. She wrote that Claire had been emotionally exhausted from supporting me and that I couldn't handle a strong woman. It was wild seeing a story so far from the truth. But here's where karma stepped in. People in the comments weren't buying it. Not even a little. The cousin had attached a photo of the envelope I gave Claire, the one with the totals. She posted it thinking it would make me look petty. Instead, people zoomed in and saw the actual numbers and dates. They asked why any girlfriend would accept that much money from someone she claimed to be supporting. Others pointed out that Claire's own message, "You're not ambitious enough. I need a richer man," was visible in the corner of one screenshot. Claire's cousin had tried to protect her, but the evidence told a different story. Comments kept rolling in. That guy didn't do anything wrong. He just wrote down what she took. She wanted a luxury lifestyle without earning it. This isn't controlling. This is someone finally setting boundaries. Someone even wrote, if she said she needed a richer man, then go get one. Why drag your ex through the mud? It became clear fast. The more the cousin tried to defend her, the worse Claire looked. By noon, the post was deleted. Half an hour later, Claire called me. I let it ring. She called again. The third time, I picked up. Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. Can we talk? She said softly. We already did, I answered. That post wasn't my idea, she said. I told her not to upload anything. But she still had all your screenshots, I replied. So you must have shown them to her. She didn't deny it. I didn't think she'd twist things like that. Claire, I said, you've been twisting things for months. Silence. Long, uncomfortable silence. Finally, she spoke, her tone thin and resigned. I just didn't expect everything to turn out like this. Karma doesn't ask for permission, I said. She let out a slow breath. Are you really done with me? I was done when you told me you'd stay only if I paid for your lifestyle. I didn't think you'd leave, she said, almost whispering. People always assume the person giving the most will never walk away, I replied. But they forget. Once that person leaves, everything falls apart. She didn't argue. Not this time. She just said, okay, and hung up. That was the last time we spoke. Over the next week, I moved into a new place. No drama, no noise, just peace. Friends who knew the real story checked in. Others who believed her cousin faded away. And honestly, I didn't mind. For the first time in a long time, I felt like myself again, steady. Claire wanted a richer man, a bigger life, more luxury. She treated love like a business plan and saw me as a step she could skip. But she walked away with something she never expected.